Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me. I have Dexy in the background helping as always. I'm still one pod crafting with you, but today we are going to look at the hibiscus. I meant to say hello and hibiscus all at the same time. And I always feel like I'm saying biscuit when I say hibiscus. But, anyways, the hibiscus motif. I believe we have the amazing hand behind the badge today. I could be wrong, but I believe we do. I have a 50-50 shot. So some days I'm right, some days I'm wrong. Hello, everyone, as you come in. I'm so excited that you're here. We're going to be using since we got partly sunny, we're going to be using some bright colors today. I thought, hey, wouldn't it be fun to grab those Amy Tan bright inks and have some beautiful, beautiful color. So what I've decided, I already took a quick left-hand turn there, I pulled out a piece of parchment cardstock because I don't think it gets enough love. I love parchment cardstock from Altnu. So I thought we would make 2 cards with 1 sheet. So this sheet is 5 by 7 1/4. And I will do about 3 3/4. I'll cut it in half. So I'll have 2 cards and mount them onto an A2 card base. And I've got my little mini cubes from the amazing Amy Tan collab that we had. And you can see I have some labels on there. Hang on, those are coming. You'll also see that I have them on my mini blending tools. Those are coming very, very soon. So keep your eye out for those. I know a lot of people have been showing them. And then we're also working with the amazing hibiscus motif today. So love the hibiscus, and I love the colors on the back, and that's what kind of inspired this. So I'm kind of going to substitute the Amy Tan colors for the colors that are up in there because I think it's just absolutely gorgeous. So we will go ahead. We have our stamp wheel. Yes, thank you everybody for joining. Don't forget to share because you have a chance to win. Right now you have a 1 in 21 chance of winning. So very exciting. That changes throughout the live, but your comments. So those who share, if you are sharing, if everybody shares, I guess I should say, because you have to share to be eligible to win. So as long as all 21 are sharing, you got 1 in 21 at this point. All right, so we're going to get this into place, and then I'm going to come over, and I'm going to get this, and we may have some emery fur on here, just saying. We may have some beautiful donation of fur from either Emery or Dexy. So this is going to be close. I'm going to put this right to the edge. Okay, so I can use my mat. I'm going to put it right in the corner, and it's about 3 3/4. So I'm going to be right on the money. So I want to nestle this right up against the edge because I'm making 2 cards with this, but that's okay. That's okay. We can have things that go right to the edge. And then if you want to, you could also have it higher up on your panel, but I think I'm going to put it there because I want to be able to have a place for my sentiment. And since this is like a smaller focal of my A2, I want to be sure that it's all set in there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get this inked up. Left-hand crafting here. All right. Yes, I have to say, Emery, as soon as she heard the music, came in and she was doing her little, no pun intended, catwalk on the desk. And Dexy went over. He has a box that was from a BJ's order, and he went over and he was all excited and jumping around in that. So the Casey fur children are very excited to be here as well. Emery is at my right side, just in case I may need some additional fur for my project or any help that she can provide. Oh my goodness, I have to tell you, that's what she steals too. And it was funny because I was doing a quick video last night and I was using my minis and I dropped one. I didn't see her. And then all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, like there she is. It's like she knows, like, oh, it's my favorite tool from Altanu. I guess I have to go use it. All right. And then I'm just going to move my stamp over because I didn't put it where I can just rotate it. I'm just going to do it this way because I'm one-handed. So bear with me. And maybe this one I put up here. I think this one I am going to put up here, and I'm going to go off the page a little bit. And it will trim so that there is some there. But why I'm doing this is because I can always use my fine liner pens to draw the stem down, and I can stencil that. I can just move the stencil down as well. So it'll give me a little bit of a difference in these two cards. So they won't be identical. All right, I'm switching to the right. It's hard. It's hard to not use my right hand. Hello, everybody. Hello. It's so good to quote unquote see you all. I always look forward to seeing your names. So it's always exciting to see your names there. Okay, and I'm going to go with that because we have a lot of work to do. If I was in my own, I'd probably stamp that again because that center could be a little crisper. But we're gonna move on because we got the one-handed wonder here. Okay, so then you use the stencil, but first I'm going to go ahead and I can show you the fine liners trick. So I've got my fine liners right here. Okay, and I'll do the 01. Another surprise hand. I didn't even know I was going to pull these out. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up right here. Okay, right on the edge, being very careful because I'm already covered in obsidian. Obsidian loves me so much. And I can wiggle this over just a little bit so I get that same kind of depth of line there. Okay, so it's continuing down. And once we add the color, nobody's going to notice. I probably could have used, all right, this may be too much, but let me try it on my project for you. This may be too much. This is the brush. So it depends on how much pressure you kind of put down. You get a bigger line or a skinnier line. But just a trick, if you're trying to make your flower longer, these work perfect. Nobody is going to know because we keep crafty secrets, don't we, my dear friends, like this? We keep all these crafty secrets. All right, so there. So now we have a full length hibiscus. Now, the great thing about this is you can either leave your hibiscus flower open or you can go ahead and you can add the stenciling to it. I'm going to just sneak up my stamp into here. I did have some masks for this when I did it. And, you know, you don't have to, if you don't want to add leaves, you don't have to add leaves. But I'm going to add one right in there. Maybe we'll do one with leaves and one without leaves. Maybe we'll do that. All right, so we got one over here. Okay. And again, this is another another Amy Hill card where it's one-dimensional. As soon as I get my sling off, I promise I will bring back the dimension. I promise. So it's coming off there. Usually I don't like to show like the stem. Usually I like to mask off so it's just the actual leaf and the stem's not showing. But again, we have a couple issues going on today. One, we're timed, and two, I'm working with one paw here. So I am making little differences in my crafting. All right, so we'll do this here. And if you're worried that it's going to go over, I always have a piece of cardstock around here that either got ink on it or it got bent or something. There's a tragic story to it. Of course, I can't find. Oh, here we go. I put them off to the side. So what you could do is you could mask off that part so that it doesn't go over there by accident. Just a quick masking. Because I don't know about you. I love the look of masking. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But sometimes it's like, oh, I got a mask. So I love when we get the masks because I don't have to cut them. I don't have to fussy cut. So, but this one in my original project, I actually did a 1-layer card for this as well. And it's over on the site if you would like more inspiration. So there we go. And if this ends up being on my card, I can just fill it in with the fine liner again. Fine liners to the rescue. They really are. They're like the St. Bernard of crafting. They rescue you all the time. All right, so we have our leaves and we have our hibiscus. So now we're going to come over, okay, and we've got our simple coloring stencil. Now, the great thing with this is it simple coloring? Absolutely, because it's got the openings, but you can make it into layered by adding dimension and depth by blending lots of colors in there. Just because it was intended to be simple coloring doesn't mean you have to keep it simple coloring. Now, I'll also say at this point, and happy birthday, Tracy. It's Tracy's birthday today. Happy birthday. I'll also say at this point, I think this would be a beautiful card if you just trimmed this off and put a sentiment on. I love simple cards like that. So, if that's something that is up your alley as well, keep that in mind. Now, because I'm in the corner and I don't want to move my paper, because I'm in the corner, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put this on my skin first so it's not as sticky as it wants to be, because it is super sticky and amazing. We are going to put this into place. It's hitting the edge on me. All right. There we go. Right there. So I'm going to go ahead and just put that down into place. Okay. And then we're going to start blending our colors. So I'm going to put some of the Tangerine Dream, the Lemonade Stand, and the Tickled Pink in there. And then we'll stamp with the Tickled Pink as well. Now, if you're doing one card, I would recommend leaving your image on your stamp wheel and then just flipping it and using the other side for the other components, because then you can go back and you can restamp the lines of obsidian, and make sure you put your caps up, not down, because you'll get ink on your project there. All right, so I'm kind of following the packaging here, but you never know what you're going to get. So we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to make sure it's back into position before I start blending. Okay. And I'm going to do the part that's kind of sticking up first. And that's very inky. So I'm getting some of it off because I don't want to go wild. You know me, heavy handed. So I kind of want like a soft kind of image here. Okay. So I'll pull some of that color down. And remember, it's going to look different because it's not white cardstock. Okay, because we have the parchment, so you're going to get a different tone and a different look to it. Okay, and then we will go ahead and I think that was mostly yellow, but we'll put a little pink here down there. Okay, so we got that in there for that one. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do the section all at once. So I'll go ahead now and blend on my orange. Now, have your stencil in place and you can just wipe the extra off and just wipe towards the opening. Because if you get it in your openings there, it's not that bad. And if you're worried, make sure you tape off the other sections. Okay. And watch your tape too, because your tape can get color on it. And that can be problematic as well. So now, whoops, and I did the wrong thing. I put it wrong side down here. Go ahead. Oh, it's good to be crafting. Yes. All right. All right. And then we're going to kind of come up on that pink color. Okay. And this is going to be very muted. It's just because of the color of the paper, it's going to be muted. You can add more and more and more and more color. You can do that. You can build color. But it's still, remember, you're starting off on kind of a tan kind of colored cardstock there. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. Okay, just kind of wipe it off. If I get a little, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. So now is Lemonade Stand. I'll put my cap in the right orientation here. Okay, and then I'm just going to come in down in this area. Okay, and blend. And the yellow is not showing, so I'm going to add more of the yellow. I'm going to be a little heavy-handed with that yellow because that paper is just kind of soaking that yellow in. It is loving it. Okay, ready? Oh, actually, we're going to do our little, hopefully this is a stamen. It is now. But look how pretty. It's just, and it's because of the cardstock really does the, the work for us here. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to start because I have my yellow on my stencil. I'm going to start with that. And you can put the satin masking tape on your sticky mat. So don't worry about that either. All right. So we'll start here. I'm a little off, but that's okay. You guys know that. All right. And I just stuck my finger in ink. So now I'm just coming in. Remember, I just want this kind of bottom corner as my yellow, but I want a nice tone of it because of the cardstock. And I mean, this would be beautiful too. If you come in with the white, that's going to be gorgeous too, with the white cardstock. It'll be beautiful. Anything you do will be beautiful. With these inks, and this is parchment. So it's Altenews version of a craft cardstock. Yes. I remember when I first saw it and I'm like, I was thinking it was like vellum. Because I was like, parchment, isn't that like the stuff we bake on? So I ordered it and I was like, oh, love, love, love. But I think this would be, I think the same thing would happen with the spicy yogurt because you'd have those flecks in there. And it's taking away that stark white because you have these such beautiful bright colors. So, you know, it's just removing away the starkness of the white and bringing in kind of something that these colors still shine. They're still beautiful, but it's not that stark white that's on there. And look at that. We didn't color any spaces we weren't supposed to. Look at us go. We are doing so good today. All right. Just making sure, no questions. All right, I'm going to spray this with some alcohol. Look how pretty, though. If you sprayed that with water and stamped that down, I think that'd be pretty, too. I hate to rinse my stencils sometimes because I look at them and I'm like, oh, my gosh, they're so gorgeous. So gorgeous, the colors. Okay, and I will also tell you, make sure you check the bag of your stencils because I've had that where they're tricky, and there was a little ink on, like on this one, there was a little ink that got on the back of my stencil. And if you go to lay it down, it's going to be tricky on your stencil, and you don't want that. All right, so now we'll go ahead and we'll do our little leaves that we have. And we can always, because we're not stamping at the moment, I can always move this up and over into the corner so I can do my leaves easier. Okay, so I'm just going to curve it until it fits. Okay, right. Oops. I got to remember to stick down last. Adjust first, stick down last. There we go. All right, so now we have to use the Lettuce Celebrate because it's gorgeous. I think we're going to do Very Cool with it because Silver Lining is pretty with it too, but let's do Easy Breezy. Let's do the darker colors because we have this colored cardstock that we're on. So let's do Easy Breezy. I always think of the commercial for that when I see that. Okay. Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. Yes, Tracy, I'm using both hands. And warning, Emery Casey may be coming on the scene here. She's on the desk. So she is on the scene, but she may be coming, quote unquote, really on the scene in a second. So yeah, try different colors. I think it's really great. I think navy is really fun if you're using pigment inks. Really, really pretty to use that. Okay, so I'm just getting a good base because as you can see, you kind of gotta, this is good for us heavy handers because you kind of got to get the ink in there because, and actually I can just leave that there and I'll just go ahead and do the same old trick. Oh, see, I messed it up, but at least I got it on my leaf. I went through the little stem there. So yes, use your satin masking tape, which I believe is on like a ridiculous sale today. It's so good. I think it's like $6. I was like, what? Wow. Very cool. There's a super good sale. It was awesome. Okay, if I remember correctly, I just was on there. All right. And it's a good crafting session because look, I'm very colorful. And then I'm just going to take this and add some of this in, okay? Just to get a little bit of differentiation in my leaves. Now, I can keep adding, it would be darker kind of, on one side and there. So I like that. I'm going to peel that up and there we go. And then we'll just move it over here. I just got to remember, align before I stick. I get so excited and I'm like, yep, I'm ready to go. I know you guys are shocked that I get excited. And if you guys missed it today, we had a lovely chat with the amazing Simon Hurley, who's going to be doing the stamp wheel class. It was fun to chat with Simon because I feel like we're the same. We get really excited about crafting and talk really, really fast and craft really, really fast. So it was very fun. So if you missed that, check that out on the Alt New channel. So some exciting things that we talked about in that interview, which you can't hear anywhere else. Very exciting. All right. And this I did not hold down. So I'm just going to pick it up. Oh, it was stuck down. Pick it up, spray it, clean it real quick. And if you wanted to, there's nothing wrong with leaving one of the leaves just kind of the green, because I do have some color differentiation in there where I applied it a little thicker. So you could leave that just alone if you wanted to, but I like the two colors. I really like the two colors. I actually like 4 colors. So I like to do 4 colors. So here, I'm just going to add a little bit of my Easy Breezy in here. There's no particular rhyme or reason, just kind of adding it in. It just gives me a different color green. And if you really wanted to emphasize the color right there, you could bring in your lemonade stand and really emphasize like the yellow. So you can kind of create a spot where you got that yellow kind of coming into the leaf as well. So play with the colors. And the great thing about when these sets come out, they go together. That's why they're together, is because they work wonderful together. So keep that in mind. Grab one set and off you go. That's the thing I love. Like when inks release, I know they go together. So I keep them in the same little bucket. And then I know I can go back time and time again and reach for them. And I know my colors are good. It's not like, oh, does this match? Alto's taken the thinking out of it for me. And a lot of times when I'm crafting, I don't want to have to worry about those things. I mean, there are times I sit down and I really want to be creative and I really want to figure, things out. But there are other times I want some downtime. I just want to have a little crafty craft, and that's it. So depends on the day what I really want to do. And the other great thing about this is the stamp set. I just want to point out, there are some very cool corners that you can use also. So you can get like a whole card panel out of this. They have extras included in here just to show you. So see, you could put the corners there and then have your hibiscus in the center. They're absolutely gorgeous. And again, they just kind of layered 3 colors in there to create that finished look. So really pretty. And we are going to continue on, but don't forget, make sure you look at these layering guides. There's so much information. They show you how to help you line it up. They show you when you use the stencil, when you use the stamp set. So it's a great resource to have. So make sure you check that out. But this is one of those sets that I probably would not have picked up, and I love it. I am in love. I just love this set. So it's great when you get to try, new things, or you see videos on card projects. And you're like, wait a minute, that may not have been something that I would have purchased, but you know what? I really like that. And so, yeah, it's exciting when you see somebody use a product and you fall in love with it, because it's hard when you just see the image. At least for me, it is. I'm more of a hands-on kind of learner. So I do really well when I can look at something or watch somebody use a product. I do much better. So what we're going to do, okay, because remember, that went down. We're just going to flip it Okay, and I'm going to just keep this going down. I just got to pay attention not to get that piece. I don't want that piece on there, but I want that. So see, nobody knows that we extended that and made that longer. How cool is that? So we have that. So I was supposed to do this one first. Okay. Was supposed to do the big one first. I thought I had a stamp it. There we go. Okay. So for this one, let's use, we did easy breezy. So let's go ahead and continue on. Okay. So I'm just going to fill in with easy breezy using what was on my brush. I think there's going to be a kitty altercation here in a moment. In my office, there is a kitty couch and there is a kitty window seat, and there are usually altercations over the window seat. So Emery's not a big couch person. It's kind of Dexy's couch. All right. So again, just going to be careful. I'm going to stay away from the bottom because I don't want to create a harsh line there. So what I'll do is I'll move it. Okay. And I'm going to flip it because I just want this portion here. And again, I'm going to come in really easy because I don't want to create a harsh line. Okay. And then again, same thing. Just extend that out. And if it's darker, nope, it's about the same color. So, I mean, it's already coming together. And again, this is a point where you could stop and say, you know what? I know they gave me more options for colors, but I'm super stoked right here. And that's okay too. Pardon my white cardstock. You know, this is Altenew gives you the beginnings of projects and how to start them. And we love to see where you go. It is awesome to see what you guys design. So I hope if you're a newer crafter too, please share what you make. We love to see what you create. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start doing our layers. Plus there's some sentiments on here, which I love. So this is kind of just a whole thing. I know, Sue, there were some prices, like my jaw dropped. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a really good sale. I was really excited. I've been using that phrase add to cart a little too much lately, but a lot of good sales going on. All right, so this one, we're going to get lined up over here. And what I'm lining up, I will show you. Oh goodness, Emery is back. Oh, thank you so much. It's my favorite. It really is. There's this section right here that's open on this stamp right here. Okay, Emery Casey. So Emery has said hello. There's her head. She's going to move off screen now because she's in the way. I know she doesn't agree and she will be back. But so I'm lining this up. There's that little section that's open on this stamp. So that's what I'm lining up. At least I believe I'm lining it up. It looks good. So we're going to go ahead and we're also, because I don't want to stamp the B because that's right in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to align the C. Okay. And the C has that kind of open area as well that I can line right up. And this one, at least I won't put my big melon in the way. So I'm going to get that all lined up. I am so colorful. And then because we're doing two at once, I can go ahead and I can do B over here because it won't bother anybody. So I'm going to get this lined up into position. So on this one, I'm looking at the curve of the flower and I'm looking at, right here, there's a line. And I'm also looking at the edges of this and this right here to line that up. So now I've got that lined up. I'm going to go ahead. And now the big decision. Oh, thank you so much. You guys are the best. The big decision is, oh goodness. Okay. I got to wash my mat apparently. All right. I hope I'm still lined up. Let me make sure I'm still lined up. A little off. That's about right. I usually try to give my stamp wheel mat a bath at least once a week, because just with the ink, I mean the whatchamahoo's on my fingers, all the oils and stuff. So it's a good idea. Okay, so the tough decision. I almost think I want to use red. We haven't used it yet, so I think I want to use that. And I think it's going to be pretty no matter what color. So if you wanted to use the tickled pink, or you wanted to use the tangerine dream, I think it would be beautiful also. But it's kind of like with a box of crayons. Why not use all the colors in the box? All right, so we have cherry sweet here. And I may be a little off on my alignment. I was lined up, but then I went and pulled everything up. So you guys know what I'll be doing tonight. My fun is to give my stamp wheel a bath. So it's all ready to go. All right. Ta-da! I think the red was a good choice. I really, really like the red. This one, a little bit right there. So I can go ahead, and this is just going to make it more dramatic to stamp it twice. I do better inking with my right hand here. Okay. I'm going to push down. And this will be very dramatic. Look at the depth you get. Just by stamping that twice, you don't need extra colors. Whatchamahoo's it? Yes, whatchamahoo's it. And I think you spelled it correctly. So yeah, you know, with this, because this is a different kind of set, meaning a lot of the alt new sets come in sets of, like the spring garden is a set of 3 greens and 3 pinks. And, you know, the rest of them, except for Frozen Delights and Jewel Tones, and this set have coordinating darker colors. And I mean, you can use, you know, out of this set, Berry Cool and Easy Breezy together. I use the orange and the red together a lot. And I use the Grape, Be Grateful, and the Ride the Wave together a lot. But if you just double stamp your colors, you can get different shades of color. So you don't have to necessarily have the family set of 4. You can have these sets that have the, 12 different colors. I think also, because in this set, the big set, in the little set, you get the permanent black, but in the big set, you get the rose gold. So the rose gold, I think, would be very pretty as well. So that's another option to think about. You could do some heat embossing. Now, warnings with heat embossing, because when you ink blend, and I think folks forget about this a lot of the time, when you ink blend, it takes a bit for that ink to dry. So these are fast drying inks, not instant drying inks. So you have to be very careful when you go to heat set or use embossing powder, because sometimes it can stick to your ink blending and you'll get powder in places that you don't want. So keep that in mind when you are working on projects. And if this happens to you, just take a tool and just kind of hold your paper down. There you go. And also just wash your sticky mat. Like me, you could have a sticky mat night too. Okay. I find with the sticky mats, the more I wash them and the more I use them and kind of get ink on them and condition them, kind of like stamps, like they're stickier, and yeah, I love it. It gets better with time. All right. I think we're on the money, or we're pretty close where we're not going to need a refund. Ta-da! And then I'm going to stamp it again twice. Now, the other option is you could not stamp it again twice. You could just leave it so that one area is lighter than the others. So that's also an option. But we're going to go ahead today because, as you know, I love nice, beautiful color. So there we go. So we have our 2. Yeah, being one-handed I'm using the other one, but not really should be doing it. Yeah, yeah. Exactly, Nancy. Yeah, I think that would be gorgeous with the rose gold. So in the mini cube set, I'll show you the difference. Let me just get my ink pad right here. So in the rounds, you get this. In the little, you get the permanent black, which is awesome too, because it's a pigment ink. So you get a little pigment ink there, permanent black. But this would be pretty. And I think especially with the colors we've chosen, I think that would be absolutely gorgeous to have that. And let me see. We're at 36 minutes. Okay. So we're just going to trim these and put a sentiment. So I think I'm going to show you. I don't know if we'll use them on our card, but I want to show you these here. So I think what I'm going to do is, let's do these really quickly. And what we're going to do, I have a plan, I promise. I just came up with it, but I promise I have a plan. Okay, so these are about 2 by 2. So I'm going to trim this. This is 5.5, so I'm going to go down to 2 3/4. Okay, and then we'll do 2 3/4. And there we go. Okay, so we have one. I just want to show you just the difference, okay, of this. And this time I'll put my cardstock correctly so I can flip it around and use it how it's intended. And these will be easy enough to fussy cut. Or actually, I think I have a die for them. I just can't use the die cut machine right now. All right, so we have these. So I'm not even going to bother cleaning that off, okay? Just going to leave it. So I will be red. I will be red in a very short period of time. So you can do this, just don't press down on it. That's the thing. And since I have red ink, I don't trust myself. So I just pick up my platform and do this. But as long as you don't push down on it, you're all set. I just don't trust myself. So that's why I pick it up and do it. But you can just leave it there and it won't, as long as you don't push down, it can't make contact because you have to press. Okay. Oh, speaking of pressing, I didn't press down in that corner. Okay. And that's not as dark as I want it. So I'm going to go ahead, give it one more pass through. Okay. Oh, there we go. There we go. Had to put my pointer finger into it. Okay. And then I'm going to ink up again. Again, if you trust yourself not to push it down, you can just leave it on your stamp platform. I don't trust myself. So it's knowing yourself as a crafter. Can you do it without pushing that down? My guess is I can't. So I'm going to stick with doing it in the air here. All right. Now, these I think would be absolutely gorgeous if you were to use some clear embossing powder or gold or anything, but whatever color you like. And actually, we can actually, well, I'm not going to, well, I got to heat set these. So that's the reason I was going, well, and having a crafty moment because there's a lot of ink on there. So let's go ahead. It's not summer, so my fan is not on, which is good. All right, there. Now it's sticking on me. All right, so we got one. You can see my little fingerprints on there because I did not use a powder tool. I'm living life on the edge. I'm sticking a full thing of embossing powder on my stamping platform. It's always crafty living here. That's why it's crafty adventures, because you never know what's going to happen. All right, so heat set these. The rose gold is a pigment ink. Yes, I am using the Ultra Sticky Matte. I love the Ultra. I love it. It's just, I've used it a lot and I didn't clean it. It's got a lot of hand oils and likely embossing powder. I am the messy crafter. I admit it freely. I have tons of extra embossing powder on here because I did not use the tool. So we'll go ahead and you can just come in with a paintbrush and just take off the extra that you don't want. And I'm not going to do it over my stamp wheel. Then it will just come off and it's like it never happens. And with this, I'll be able to give you another good tip about stenciling with heat embossing as well. So go ahead, let you guys see the magic as well. There's one side, flip over. And I have extra on here too, but it's away from my project, so I'm not as worried about it. I should be using my alternate tweezers to hold this. All right, so there. So now we're heat embossed. We'll give it a hot second just to kind of cool off there. So I had some extra, but it doesn't matter because the die will cut around it. Or I could fussy cut this. Like I'm not a fussy cutter. I could fussy cut this. So the tip is going to be, oh, and I still have some extra on there. My goodness, I went wild. And see, this is it. I get embossing powder on the back of things, and then I get it on my mat, and I'm like, oh, I'll clean it tomorrow. And you guys know how that goes. I'll clean it tomorrow turns into 2 months from now, and you guys know. All right, so I'm going to, I can't not do it. I got to do it. Let's do some pinks. Let me grab my brushes. Okay, I probably still have some on there or not. So I'm going to just put the pink up here. And I want it nice and dark. And you can do, as many colors as you can fit, so to speak. So I can do that. And then I can come in with the orange. And I can just meet there. Okay. So we got the pink and an orange one. Okay. And then we will clean up. Clean up our act, as they say. Okay. And then we will do this one. This one, I think, let's do the orange and the yellow on this one. Okay. And the good thing about doing 2 colors is that you don't really have to clean your stencil, because I'll come, see, and then I drop ink pads on here and I don't clean it enough. So that was my problem. I'm just the messy crafter. If I wasn't Bridget Casey, I'd be a messy crafter. That would be my name. Okay. And then, see, you don't have to clean your stencil this way. You just come in from one direction with one ink and the other direction with the other ink. Now, what I mentioned and I did not do on the other one, the tip I was going to show you is it's good to clean off your ink, okay? So that you can push it, again, you can push it onto your project because it's not going to hurt your project, okay? Make sure you switch when you switch colors. You don't want to put the orange and push orange into yellow. The other thing is there is a lot of embossed area here, okay? And that ink sits on top of it. So as to not ruin your projects, and do this with foiling as well. Foiling is the same thing. So I'm going to go rogue here, as I generally do. And I'm going to carefully come in and just wipe. But see, it's pushing the pink. Look how much pink is on there. So I wasn't as careful as I thought I could be, but see, let me show you. See, if I just come in and wipe it, look at all the pink that's kind of coming around the edges, because all that ink was sitting on top of it. So that's why it's important for you to do that, okay? So let's now come over We'll do the white ones. Then we'll put a sentiment on our card. And then unfortunately, that's our time today, which is very sad. I love hanging out with you guys. Okay. All right, so there we go. So this one, I did the orange and yellow. Okay, I'm going to come in and do the orange. Now again, it's going to look brighter because of the tone and the cardstock we're using. All right, and you can at this point, if you want to, wipe, okay, and then wipe off your embossing also. Okay, then you come in with your yellow. I think you guys will be surprised when you see these next to each other, the difference. Because you're like, oh yeah, there's a difference, there's a tone and color, but it really is amazing, the difference. All right, now we're going to wipe the yellow off. And make sure your cloth is clean, because if your cloth is not clean, you're going to put that onto your embossing, and you don't want that either. So you want a clean cloth, and you want to make sure you're wiping foiling and embossing, okay, my loves? Because foiling is the same thing. It covers the cardstock. So when you start ink blending on foil, the foil resists the ink and lets it sit there on top of the cardstock. Okay, and then I'm going to live on the edge because this is what I do. Okay, get this put here. And if you put one color and you're like, whoa, I lost my pink, you can always come back. You can always come back and add. Okay, and then you can go back. You can blend in more orange. So you can go back and forth. I usually do, I would say 2 passes when I do something like this, because I like to make sure the color is marrying well together. So I like to do that. All right. So I don't get this on the back of my card. I'll wipe that up. You want to use something delicate, water, stamp cleaner, or something like that on this surface. You don't want to use anything harsh. But look at the difference. I just wanted to show, look how the difference is in the color of these. So very, very different. It's harder to see on camera because I'm looking in real life and I'm looking on the camera. And you can see the starkness against the white versus how it just kind of blends into that. But you can also see right here, this was where I pulled it off to show you the ink comes off the embossing. So be careful on that, okay? So those are the 2. And again, great ideas in the pamphlet on how to include them into projects. So another, just those, I can't say enough good about the layering guides. All right, so this is the point in our journey that these cards are going to split. So I'm going to go ahead and be terrified, but, oh, and I didn't do my flower centers, of course. Of course. All right, this looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to cut it here. This is at 3.5. Okay, and then I'm just going to trim off that little petal a little bit more. There we go. All right, so I have my 2 panels. So I didn't use the stamp, of course, because it's a flower center. So let us do that the old-fashioned way, which may scare some. I'm armed with a block, dear friends. Okay. And if I use a block for little things like this, I still leave stuff in my stamp wheel. All right, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to line this up with one arm and a camera. So everybody take a very deep breath with me. Now, I'm a little off center, but that's okay. I'm close enough. I'm close enough that it worked. Okay, I think that worked. If everybody takes a deep breath all at the same time. That's what I tell people who are nervous about hand stamping. Take a deep breath in and let it out, and that's when you stamp. There, not too shabby. I can live with that. So hopefully everybody else can too. And luckily, these sentiments are on the smaller side, so it lends itself to these types of cards that we've created here. So I'm going to go ahead, and I think on this one, oh, I may have to hand stamp because this one I'm going to put up in here because my stamp wheel is covered in crafty goodness, but I can still use my platform even if I don't. This one, I think I'm just going to put the hello maybe down in the corner. We could put the hello up over here. I always feel, it feels wrong to put a sentiment down in the corner. I don't know why. All I can think of is nobody puts baby in a corner. So I'm going to go ahead and try to be brave. I'm going to make sure these are centered. Okay. And we can do the stamp wheel. I'll just pluck some stamps off the side there. All right. So, and then I've got my hello. I'm up on my tippy toes. I think those, oh no, the hello looked straight to me, but I looked on camera and it does not. All right. I think those are straight now. All right. I think we can do this. Okay. I think we can. I think we can. All right. And we will just peel off. I'm already covered in colored ink, so we can just peel our stamps off and put them to the side. So I'm already red. I'm red. I'm yellow. What other colors do we use today? I'm definitely orange. I have orange all over me. I'm just very super colorful. All right. We're just going to wipe the ink. Got to give my little flip plate a bath too later. Everything in the Casey house that's stamp related in this project is getting a bath tonight. Okay. So now that we have this, even though I have ink on my plate, it's okay. It's not going to get on there because the plate won't reach the stamps. And I'm hoping that my sentiments are straight. If they're not, for some reason, you could always go ahead and stamp again on the same colored cardstock and then just fussy cut or use a die or just something to cover up your whoops. So, and again, we crafty folks, we don't tell about such things. So your secrets are safe with us. And you don't want to squish these down because these are kind of like fine lines. So usually if you push around it, it'll go down. Push around it, it'll go down. And now that looks crooked to me, but that's okay. I think they are crooked, but I think it works. Do you guys ever create cards where the sentiments are crooked, but it works? I think this is one of those cards. The You're Awesome is crooked, I think, but it's okay. I think it works. I think it works okay. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, now the fun part. This is where we are abandoning my dear Amy Hill because the Big Daddy foam tape is coming out, the big fella. We have a few more minutes left, and why not add some dimension if you can add some dimension? Now, you could put this on a lot of different colors of cardstock, okay? I mean, of course, if you wanted to, you could pop it onto, this is one of my damaged pieces. See, it's damaged, but I keep it because I can still use it for sentiments and stuff. Don't throw those out. But so you could pop this onto this card, okay? And that would be a nice look. You can also do on the parchment. We have the navy, I think would be beautiful. Okay. So that's not the right size, obviously. But I think the navy would be a gorgeous, gorgeous backing. And then, of course, we talked about this the other day. You guys know what we have now. You guys know we have these. So you can also add to glitter if you want glitter. So just options. But I think what we will do for this one, I'm going to have it be kind of tone on tone. The other thing you could do is that you could do another border. So let me grab my black cardstock. I think a black base would look nice around this. So we will trim one. I usually have them trimmed. I think everything knows I have one arm, so it's like, hey, let's make our work. All right, so we'll go to 4 by 5 1/4, I believe. Be a good mat size for us. Okay. Not bad. I can live with it. So you could have that where you have that border there. You could even make it a thinner border if you wanted to. So this is one of those that I would probably use my tool, my trimmer. It is a tool, my trimmer as I go. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about measurements. These are, you know how some cards you just kind of wing it. So I would like a thin border, I think, around that just to pop it off there. And then I would add dimension. And then we could do one that is, let's do it this way, 5.5, or actually 4.25 by 5.5. So I think I like the navy better. Oh my goodness. I have tickled pink ink all down the side of my stamp view. Oh goodness, you guys. You know I had fun when I'm covered. Literally, my tools and myself are covered head to toe in ink. All right, so this layer, and I keep getting my pajamas stuck on my drawer. This layer, we're going to put flat. Okay, so I got my glue tape, wonderful glue tape. I don't know if that's on sale today. I don't know if all adhesive was, or that was just, I saw the satin masking tape and I was like, holy Toledo, that's a great deal. And I use a lot of satin masking tape. Okay, so then we're going to put this up on some foam tape. And wiggle that out of the way. Be careful what you put your foam tape on, because mine fell down the other day and ripped off the center of a piece of paper. It's okay. I just put it behind a card panel. Nobody will ever know that I ripped off the center piece of it was actually the black cardstock too. So just because I don't want to make you watch me do what I normally do, I'll use 3 instead of like 8. I have a fear of my card falling in. It happened to me 30 years ago. Do you guys have anything like that in your crafty realm? Something happened a long time ago, you know, like a card got bent, or so now you mail it in like cardboard mailers, or there's always something that happens in our crafty world that we're like, it's never going to happen again. Mine was foam tape, but I didn't have the Alta New foam tape 30 years ago. So look how it's pretty. The hibiscus is just gorgeous. It is so pretty. And I wish I had another hour to show you the difference, you know, between this having on the white cardstock, but you can see images of the white cardstock and kind of visualize. There are lots of beautiful photos and lots of ideas on the Alta New site. So make sure you check those out. Make sure you check this set out, because it's just, it's such a beautiful set. And I love now that we're getting, they're making for us sets that we can stencil, we can stamp all together to get a beautiful finished image. I just love it. All right, this one I am putting more on because, well, I have to. It's just a thing. Okay. And make sure, if you guys haven't listened to the Simon interview, it was so wonderful to have a chat with him. He's just absolutely amazing. So make sure to check that out. Making sure I don't have any whatchamahoosit embossing powder on there. My desk looks like a tornado went through here. Okay. We'll peel these final things, and we're right out of there. Oh, Han, look at you go. I didn't put the scissors on there. Oh, Han, you're so good. They're both my gals are fabulous, Han and Angel. They're just the bestest. I always look forward to quote unquote seeing them on Mondays and Thursdays. Like I quote unquote look forward to seeing you guys as well. So there, you know, subtract my mess and all of that. Let me get my stamp wheel kind of off the screen a little here. My desk is atrocious, but here are the 2 cards. And, you know, the parchment, I think, is just a fun difference from the white cardstock. So just a little bit different, but a lot of fun. And don't forget, we had our, you saw them. We had our corner pieces we did as well. So you can kind of see the difference a little bit and kind of imagine like the difference this would be on white versus that beautiful parchment cardstock. So thank you so much, everybody. It was so good to see everyone. And I hope that you, again, take a look at this set because it's just absolutely beautiful and fabulous. And check out that sale too, because I saw a lot of good sale items. And thank you so much to everyone out there for allowing us to help you craft your life. We'll see you all very, very soon. Bye, everyone.